The person who hugged you at your last family gathering went home that night and quietly hoped your would fall apart. And the most painful thing I'm going to tell you today, you know what? I want you to think about the last time something good happening to you, a promotion, a new business, a glow up, a win. Now think about one person in your family you told first. Do you remember their face? Did they smile? But their eyes didn't. Did they say congratulations, but immediately follow it with a but? That's great, but are you sure that's realistic? That's amazing, but don't get too hard of yourself. I'm proud of you, but you know how these things go. That but is not concern. That but is a knife. And today we are going to talk about exactly why the people who are supposed to love you the most are sometimes the most dangerous people in your life. Before I get go deeper, I need to ask you something directly, and I want you to actually answer this in your head. Don't skip past it. Think of one person in your family, just one, who has never once celebrated your win without making it smaller. Maybe they changed the subject. Maybe they compared you to someone else. Maybe they just went quiet. That quiet, that silence after you good news, that is one of the most psychologically damaging things a human being can experience, because your brain is wired to seek approval from family first. It goes back to childhood. When you are in the 4 years old, your entire survival depends upon your parents' approval. So what when that approval is replaced with silence of comparisons and subtle discouragement, your nervous system registers it as a threat to your existence, not an excretion. That is literally neuroscience. And yet nobody talks about this because we are being told our whole lives that family is everything. But what is family? Is the very thing holding you back. Stay with me, because what I am about to show you goes deeper than you expected. There is a psychological phenomenon called tall poppy syndrome. It describes what happens in social groups, including families. When one person starts to rise above the rest, the group doesn't celebrate them. The group cuts them down. Why? Because your success is an unconscious mirror. When you win, when you grow, when you level up, the people around you who are stuck suddenly see their own failure reflected back at them. They are not angry at you, they are angry at themselves, but you became the target. And in your family system, this became even more vicious because it's disgust as love. It comes wrapped in, I am just worried about you. It comes dressed up as I am just don't want to see you get hurt. But what is really is fear. Their fear projected onto your future. Audience question is, can I ask you something? Has someone in your family ever talked you out of something and months later you realize they had no good reason to, they just talked you out of it and it worked? How many dreams have you abandoned because someone who claimed to love you planted doubt in your head? I want you to sit with for a second, because that's not just a bad advice, that is theft. They stole something from you with words and they called it a care. There is an old fisherman's observation that changed how I see human behavior forever. If you put a single crab in a bucket, it will climb out, no problem. But if you put multiple crabs in the same bucket, none of them escape, because the moment one crab starts climbing, the other reach up and pull it back down. They don't even do it consciously. It's a pure instinct. And here's what will shake you. Human families operate the exact same way. When you come from a background of struggle, of lack, of generational poverty, of trauma, and you suddenly start climbing, the people still in the bucket don't cheer. They grab you ankle, not always with cruelty, sometimes with love. Don't forget where you came from. You think you are better than us now. You have changed. Those four words, you have changed, are the most weaponized words in family guilt culture. Of course, you have changed. That's called growth. But to someone stuck in the bucket, your growth is a personal attack on their stagnation. And the worst part, most people climb back down. They shrink themselves to fit. They dim their light to the room don't feel too bright. They choose belonging or becoming, and they spend the rest of their lives wondering what could have been. I'm going to describe some real scenarios right now, and I want you to tell me in the comments which one hits closest in the home. Scenario, you got a new job, higher pay, better future. You told your parent or sibling, they said congratulations, then immediately asked, but what about benefits? What about job security? You are taking a risk. In 30 seconds, they had you second guessing a decision that took you months to make. You're stressed a business, a channel, a side hustle. You were excited on fire. You told a family member and they looked at you with that face. I will support you, but I gave this 6 months face. And they never asked about it again unless it was going wrong. Then they asked every week. You lost weight, you got healthier, you started glowing, and instead of joy, you felt something strange from someone close, a coldness, a sudden wave of their own insecurities projected a criticism. You are getting too skinny. Don't become obsessed. You are changing. You got healthier, and somehow that became a problem. Which scenario are you living? Because here, what every single one of these has in common, your growth triggered their wound. And instead of healing their wound, they tried to stop your growth. That is not love. That is emotional debate collection, and you don't owe anyone your smallness. Now I have to tell you something that might the hardest thing in this video. Some of the people, the family members who undermine you, they don't even know they are doing it right. That's what make it so devastating. It's not conscious conspiracy, it's a deeply unconsciously emotional response. The love you and the recent you at the same time, both can be true. The mother can genuinely love their child and unconsciously feel threatened by the child's potential exceeding their own, and the sibling can truly care about you and simultaneously feel diminished every time you win. Love and sabotage are not opposites. In deeply wounded family system, they coexist every day. So what you do with that? You can't hate someone who doesn't even understand what they are doing, but you also cannot hand them the scissors to cut your wings just because they are family. Here the question. I want you to honestly answer. Maybe for the first time ever in your family members were strangers, just people you met first time. You would you still let them speak to you where they do? Would you let a stranger talk to you out of your dream? Would you let a stranger's silence make you feel like you win wasn't enough? Would you keep going back to the strangers who made you feel small every time you showed you big? You weren't, but because they are family, you called it love, and you keep going back. And that is the trap. That is the case nobody talking about. You know what? Some let me very clear before we end. This video is not telling you to hate your family. This is not about cutting everyone off. This is about something much powerful than that. This is about seeing clearly. Because the moment you see the pattern, the moment you name what's been happening, it loses its power over you. You will stop shrinking. You stop explaining your wins to people who don't celebrate them. You stop seeking approval from people who are emotionally unavailable to give it. You start protecting your energy the way you protect your memory. You start choosing whose voice against gets access to your decisions. The people who are meant to grow with you will celebrate you. They won't need you to be smaller to feel okay about themselves. Real love expands you, it doesn't compress you. And when you find those people, whether they are friends, mentors, partners, or chosen family, you will feel something you might have not felt in years. You will feel safe to be big. And that feeling is what you were robbed of. And it's the time to take it back. And finally, I'm going to leave you with one last question, and this is the one I actually want you to be answered below without saying their name. What is the one thing someone in your family did or said that you smiled through in a moment but cried about later? When you are alone, drop it below, because I promise you, someone else in the comments is going to read your words and for the first time in their life feel like they are not crazy, feel like they are not alone, feel like what happened to them actually happening. And that is why this conversation matters. In the video said something you need to hear. Share it with one person who needs it more than you do. I will see you in the next one. You know, please subscribe this video and like it hard. Thank you. Thank you very much for watching this video, and please comment your opinion very sincerely. Thank you.